G'day guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Danny Bird and I'm a PGA professional based here at the Carbrook Golf Club in southeast Queensland, Australia. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the difference between your driver swing and your iron swing. And guys, there is a big difference in how the two clubs are swung. As always, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out when the videos drop each and every week. Guys, let's get into it. Okay, so a few key differences between our irons and our drivers. Well, let's look at the irons. Really very simple, guys. When we set up to our irons here, I'm going to have a slightly narrower stance than I would with my driver. Okay, so my stance should be shoulder width apart. That gives me the ability to create rotation. I'm still very mobile to be able to move throughout the golf swing, but I'm also still very, very stable. So that's very important. The golf ball position, it's going to move. With our irons, there's going to be variation. With your driver, generally you're going to have a singular ball position, but certainly when we're hitting our irons, it's going to vary, and that's because the club length varies. So the shorter the iron in length gets, the further the golf ball should go back in the stance. So for the purpose of this video, I have my 7 iron here. So this will be just forward of center. Next, we look at the handle position. And this is really important because at setup, we don't want to see the hands behind the golf ball. I like to see that my left hand, when I set up, if I was just to simply lower this down, it would very likely graze the inside of my left thigh. This means that my hands are forward of the golf ball at address, and then as I work into my downswing, they should return forward, creating that little bit of compression. Okay, so next let's look at the sternum. This is important because when we're hitting our irons, there's always a natural tilt of my right shoulder because my right hand is lower than my left on the grip. However, with my irons, I'm trying not to have any excessive right side bend. So I'm going to set myself up and I really feel like my sternum is staying over the golf ball. So when I set myself up here, I feel like my pressure is ever so slightly on my left foot or my lead foot, my foot closest to target here. And the reason being is that, again, as I work into impact, I want my pressure to be forward, enabling me to get that club to be working down. So we could do that and achieve that by getting our sternum early, feeling like it's over the top of the golf ball. Next, the takeaway. Guys, very smooth transition. This is probably the most important part, is that our iron swing generally is going to be a much, much smoother swing than that of our driver. Your iron shots, when we're trying to hit them, we have a much, much smaller target. The fairway is wide and very, very long. There's lots of room to hit. But when you're hitting a 7 iron, the green is only so wide and only so deep, so we do have to have a lot more control over the swing. So I tend to say to players that when we have an iron in hand, we're really trying to control the golf shot, so we're not going to be swinging it as hard as we physically can. And I like to keep it in around that 80% swing range. So we do that by having a nice smooth takeaway. Avoid that snatchy movement. We're also going to ensure that our lead shoulder here, it's going to be tilting. That means working in a downward position. And the reason why that left shoulder, our lead shoulder, is going to be working down, is going to enable us to get the shaft pitch working upwards, which means that our attack angle is going to be a little bit steeper on the way down. And we do want that. We want a slightly steeper attack angle with our irons. That's going to enable us to get that ball then divot connection that we're looking for. That's going to get that compression. We want to avoid the shoulders kind of getting a little bit too horizontal in the turn, and then having to kind of sort of throw the hands and flip the hands. None of those things are going to lead to good golf shots. So if we can just get ourselves the setup correct, get our tempo smooth, get that lead shoulder working down, we're going to find ourselves striking our irons really, really well. With a driver, the golf ball is teed up. And because it's teed up, we're trying to hit the golf ball on and up. Now we know when we're hitting our irons, we're not trying to hit up on our irons, we'll be hitting down. But with the driver, we're trying to hit up on the golf ball. So a couple of key things that we can do to begin with. Number one, tee the golf ball up nice and high. The higher the golf ball is teed up, the more visually we can see that we have room to swing, get behind and underneath it to launch it up in the air, which we want to do. So guys, let's get the ball teed up. So let's have a quick look at the setup. You'll notice that the golf ball position is forward in the stance. It needs to be forward. I need all the room that I can get to be able to maneuver that club to be starting to go upward. And the club at point of contact is traveling on the up when we're driving well. So we create that wide stance. We have that golf ball forward. You'll also notice that to help us hit up on the golf ball, we actually want to tilt our right shoulder. So we're going to let that right shoulder hang down nice and low. This is going to give us room and encourage us to work from back behind the golf ball and allow us to hit up. Now it's important that you understand that this right side will tilt more. Many players struggle with that. We often see players with the shoulders trying to kind of get it back to the level which we don't want. So what I'd ask you guys to do is just get yourselves in front of a mirror at home, set yourselves up, put your hands on your shoulders, and you're looking to see that your hands, when you look down, is that your right hand, as it's crossed here, is sitting that much higher than my left hand. So we get in front of that mirror, we set ourselves up, and we just tilt. Let the arms hang down. We can get ourselves into what should be our driver posture. It's really important. It's probably one of the most important parts, is to allow this right side to tilt so that we have room and we are behind the golf ball and give ourselves the opportunity to hit up on our driver. So once we've got this tilt in place here, when we set up to the golf ball here, you'll notice that my left hand here is actually kind of in line or even slightly behind the golf ball. This is okay. We do not want our hands moving ahead of the golf ball at point of contact with driver. We don't want our hands traveling and getting contact with it, leading the head in this position. That's just going to be a steepening of the attack angle. We're going to hit the ball poorly. So when we get ourselves set up, let's give ourselves the best opportunity by ensuring that our left hand here, when it's on the grip, sits level to slightly behind. And then we want our head to be behind our hands. This is achieved by getting that right shoulder to tilt down. And this is important. We do want that right shoulder to be tilted a little bit lower at address. Why? Guys, this is going to enable us to have the opportunity to hit up on the golf ball. When we're hitting our driver, this is one of those few clubs that I do say to players, your target is big. You have a big fairway. It is wide, maybe not as wide as you'd like it to be, but it's long. There's so much room up there to hit the driver that we realistically can swing it a bit faster. So a little bit different to the iron swing here. I encourage players to really swing it as close to 90% as they can when they're playing out on the golf course. I never ever want anyone swinging at 100% unless you happen to be on the widest fairway you've ever played and there is zero consequence to hitting a poor drive. When we're out on the golf course, competitive mode, playing with our friends, whatever the case may be, we want to have a little bit of a faster swing speed. We allow ourselves to swing a little bit faster. So we get ourselves into our setup position, and we can ensure that by having a little bit of a faster tempo on the takeaway. Now, we can see great drives with the golf ball, and they will have increased speed on the takeaway, fast on the follow through. So this is your opportunity. I give permission to all my players, when you're hitting your driver, push it up to that 90%, because we are hitting this club because we're trying to get it as far down the fairway as possible, as close to the end target as possible, to give ourselves the shortest club into the green, enabling us to hopefully hit it closer and score that little bit better. And then this isn't really different to the irons, but it's so important when we're hitting our driver. Guys, you've got to get off that back foot. Far too often I see players hitting, falling back, leaning back, and a lot of pressure on that back right toe. Guys, we need to get out of that. We need the feeling of moving through and forward and having the pressure on the tiptoes as opposed to on the balls of the feet and leaning back. Guys, if we can do that, we can drive the golf ball that much better. Guys, as always, I appreciate you taking the time to watch today's video, and I do hope that you found it particularly helpful and that it has helped your game, it will help your game. Guys, if you liked today's video, please just give it a thumbs up for me. Don't forget, share it with your friends. You might know someone that needs some help, doesn't understand the difference between their driver swing and their iron swing, and so they need some help. Guys, please feel free to drop a comment. As always, I'm more than happy to engage with any of you guys in the comment section about this video, past videos, or potentially how I could help your game. Guys, and above all else, don't forget to enjoy golf when you go out and play. Until next time, happy golfing.